What's going on, everybody? Today we have a special call. This is a WrapAcademy case study with Erik Rutten. Erik joined our community probably about 2 months ago. He's really hit the ground running and he has a handful of properties right now that he's acquired and he's selling on Wraps. And he came in with one property he was working on that was going to be a flip in Topeka, Kansas. And since then, he's turned that into, he's going to do that on a wrap as well. He's just been an awesome student. He's really come in and been very supportive for the community as well as taken massive action and gotten really quick results. So great to have you on, Erik.
Thank you, Phil. It's a pleasure to be here. It's been a great pleasure being part of the program as well.
Yeah, it's been great having you. So yes, I guess I'm curious, what was it? Yeah, what was it that really drew you in about Wraps and about doing this model? And yeah, tell us a little bit more about your journey also. What's kind of evolved since you've joined?
Yeah, I've been pursuing real estate investment, not for long, just since about March of this year as a means of pursuing financial freedom. But, I still want to get my hands dirty, and I do find real estate investment really interesting, like structuring deals and so forth. So that's kind of where, when I learned about Wraps, I think it was in these creative finance groups like Pace Morby's free Facebook groups. I saw you've been posting a lot in there, sharing your deals. And I had also seen Ron, I forget his last name, but he's an old school guy. There's a few old school guys. I had seen their videos before. So the idea of it already was kind of planted in my brain as being appealing. Like the prospect of building up a rental portfolio as a means to financial freedom seemed like too far out. Like, it's going to take like 100 rentals or something, right? To cash flow enough. But with this, it's like much more modest. It's only like 10 to 15 or something like that, right? I love the problem solving aspect of it too. Like it's genuinely fun to be, structuring these deals and working with all the people around. I find this kind of sub economy, this subculture that's grown around it is really cool and fascinating. Like there's this whole economy of people with the key agent that's helping and they have their whole team. It's really cool and they really know their market. I love it. Like I love working with people that know what they're doing. Like, these key agents that you've identified in Kansas City they're great. Like they know their neighborhoods, they know how to price things. They're awesome, great,
Yeah,
friendly to deal with.
it's a really interesting thing about this model because, what we're doing is we're taking properties that we're taking people that couldn't already finance with the banks and we're giving them opportunities for homeownership. And so by giving them financing options, we open up an entire different segment of the market that may be very qualified to buy, but they just don't have the traditional abilities to. In Kansas City, a lot of our buyers are first generation Americans. A lot of them are entrepreneurs and 1099 employees. A lot of them are very responsible and they have access to capital. They just have thin credit profiles. And it opens up this whole different economy where we're basically building businesses where the banks aren't serving. And that's, 75% of the population. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yes, I'd love to hear about it. Tell us about some of your deals. You're telling me a little bit earlier about your deal in St. Louis. I think that's a really fun one to kind of dive into.
Yeah. It's all really exciting stuff, and that's what I like about your community is that, it really is an active community. I've been in other ones too, and they're good, like in the resources they provide, but the communities themselves can be a little bit quiet. And it kind of defeats the purpose. The benefit here is that we have people that are sharing their struggles together and their wins and learning through it and helping each other get more deals and partner on deals and stuff like that, which is really cool. The St. Louis one is a really interesting one because it shows these opportunities are out there. Even I'm just a beginner, and this deal here is just retired landlord, friendliest guy you'll ever meet, real old school investor, and he's willing to sell his rental there for 10K down, 3% interest rate with a 8-year balloon. He wanted 7, I think, and 8. We said 8, but it's fine either way. It's being rented now, so it doesn't really need a lot of work. And because of that, I can keep the tenant buyer rate pretty close to market rent. It can rent out for up to like 1550 there, maybe even 1500. So I'll sell it for 1680. Yeah, and we'll see how it goes. I don't think St. Louis is the hottest market for this stuff. It's not got the Hispanic concentration like Kansas City does, but there's a lot of interest in buying houses on owner financing in St. Louis, right? So I'm interested to see how this one goes, right? Like a lot of times there's just 3K entry point. So we might have to keep the entry point a little bit maybe 9K, but I was going to set it at 10. But anyway, we'll see. So the cash on cash return for this, because there's so little, it's 10K in, maybe a few thousand to clean up the place and mow the lawns and maybe do the flooring in the kitchen because it's like half done. It'll be a few thousand left in the deal after the tenant buyer gives their 10K deposit, and then it cash flows a lot because it's a 3% interest rate, right? So I don't have it in front of me, but it's probably 130% cash on cash return. So it's pretty good, which is like
Nice. That's amazing.
$700 a month or so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting because a lot of different markets have different buyer demographics, So, I have friends who do this all across the eastern part of the country, and it's a very different demographic than Kansas City, which is different from St. Louis. So every market has a little bit of a different style to it, but there's always people looking to get finance properties, which is really great. That's awesome. So you're getting this property seller financing from a nice landlord. You'll sell it on seller financing, get most of your money back from that down payment, and then you'll be collecting cash flow to get all of your money back in the first year.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I also like about this, because people compare this kind of, they often compare real estate investment to stock investment. But when
Mhm.
I try to structure the deals, I got the idea from the slow flip thing, right? Where you're trying to get your capital paid off within 5 years. So I
Yep.
try to incorporate that into the math of all the deals where I'm paying it down within 5 years. So yeah, it'll all be paid back in the first year, which is nice.
Whenever you can get all of your money out of the deal immediately, that's a good deal. So you've done a handful of deals now since joining us. You've really hit the ground running. What do you feel like has been the biggest key towards you getting so many deals under your belt in such a short period of time?
That's a good question. The key, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know what the key is. I think it's probably a number of things that just kind of came together. So I think this model in general is like, it's great, right? It's a great model. So, and the model works, right? It's definitely not a simple model, right? So you definitely need, unless you're like extremely clever and resourceful, which I think even then you need support and you need the resources because it is actually a very complex model, right? There's just all the paperwork and
Mhm.
you're often dealing with creative financing as well. You are creative financing. So having all those resources here available was definitely a critical success factor, right? Like you could not do that alone, I don't think, right? It's just, there's a lot of moving parts to it. I would say that would be a huge factor. And there was some kind of, I mean, there's already been a kind of fire in me. So I think those two things together, I don't know where, but somehow around that time period too, just the idea of massive imperfect action was kind of really hitting me. So I think just those three things together just was like the perfect storm of, it hasn't been easy though, to like, it has been an exciting, powerful growth journey. But I think that's the point, right? Like, because you're trying to
Yeah.
like take on more and do more and become a different kind of person. You have that stuff in your course, right? If you just put a little in and you just want to put a little bit in over time, that's okay. If that's the way you want to go about it, that's fine. And you can absolutely have good results with that. I'm not like that though. So I love the idea of just putting it all in, and the more you put in, the more you're going to get out. So yeah, kudos to you, Phil, for putting together both the great resources. And I think it's the pairing of the things, right? To have the community itself, like with the Slack, we have people that actually answer and communicate. That's really important.
Thank you. Yeah, it's one thing that I talk about a lot, right? Like when we're bringing someone into a community or a program or whatever, like what's really happening is an inner transformation that we get to transform ourselves through taking massive action. And, a lot of business is taking that imperfect action. And then, this is never ending problems to solve. And we just get to grow in our ability to solve more and more complex problems. And as we do that, like we level up our skill set and our value to the market.
Absolutely.
Yeah, in what ways has Rap Academy been supportive for you? Like, what do you feel like you've gained the most or enjoyed the most from joining our community?
I think, I mean, I don't know that I have more to add on that. I think the key things are definitely the community tools and support care. Obviously, the calls are, I probably should participate in them more. Those are very valuable for people for sure to have. I think that's important to keep that up and keep that going so that they're almost like every other day or maybe even back to back sometimes. But those calls are definitely helpful ways to talk through deals, to help underwrite, to answer questions, to get motivation, to get clarity. Those are important. I don't take advantage of those as much as I ought to, partly because I conflicts often with my W-2, but those are extremely helpful. Yeah, so those are three kind of pillars that I see of the program are the things that I've found helpful, like having those calls, Slack, and access to other members because members share real on the ground experience. So the more we can encourage each other to share and be available to each other, I think that's really important for new people and experienced people. So that's why I try to be looking in there a lot myself, even though I might not have a lot to add at this point. And then the resources in the school for sure.
It's very apparent that you've dove in, you took immediate action, you asked a lot of questions, and you sent us deals that you were underwriting to get some feedback on. And then this is one of my favorite things about having a community like this is, I'm not a genius. I've just done these types of deals over and over again. It's like the whole goal is to get the wisdom I've gained from experience into each of the community members' brains in one way or another. It happens through feedback loops. And it's my favorite thing when I see at first students come and they ask a bunch of questions. They're like, what about this deal? What about this deal? How do I use this underwriting tool? And then at a certain point, you become self-propelled where it's like, okay, now the student becomes a teacher and they have stuff to feed back to the other members and they get to help each other out and give feedback. And it's just like a really cool thing to see when people are really committed and they start taking action and you can see it all starting to click and come together. So kudos to you for being an action taker.
Well, thanks, Phil. Yeah, I actually have like a background in my W-2. My background is like very related to community. So I do get it a lot. Like, where I used to work, I led the team that launched an online community. And so I very much believe in like the power of online communities and for business or personal or whatever. Yes. Well done, Phil.
Yeah, thank you. And then so tell me about some of your goals moving forward. What is your big dream for real estate and also for how to restructure your life with real estate as a vehicle for creating more passive income?
Yeah, I've never been good at making goals beyond a year just because things just change so rapidly. And I also like to make goals based on what I know. So I actually don't even really know what the ceiling is, right? Like I don't want to set one even. But with that being said, like, I have like, everyone comes in with this minimum goal to start off with. So I think by the end of the next couple of months, hopefully if everything goes well, I'll have about 5 properties with a tenant in them. So from there, I would like to get another 10 in the next year. And then I'll be at a point where I can consider putting more time into it. Cause right now it's just an after hours thing, but I would like to be able to do it full time. So I think if I have 15, then I can do it full time. But my other kind of thing that I'm trying to figure out now, and this is where I'm starting to really resonate with the jacket strategy. I feel like that's actually the winning path.
Yeah.
Because as I saw someone post in some sub two group today, where are all the under 15K entry sub two deals that cash flow? Like they're not really, they're all over 20K. And then with closing costs and stuff, it's really high. And that's kind of what the trap I fell into now, which is fine. Like they're good deals. They're not like home runs, but like that's fine. Like I'm just starting, like having one amazing deal and 4 okay deals just starting out. I think that's amazing. The problem though is it means it's tied up a lot of my capital. So I have to figure out a better way going forward. And I think that way is the jacket strategy because as you know, like the closing costs are pretty minimal and then the loan covers the rehab. So your cash left in is very minimal. So I'm feeling like with that, I can maybe even do more. At a minimum, I want to do 10 in the next year. But if I can figure out how to like cycle through things, especially in Topeka, because there's a huge amount of demand, right?
Yeah.
Like the key agent said that the last time she posted one, it sold in 3 hours. So,
Amazing. Maybe I'll need to pop in that market with
so
you.
no kidding. Yeah. So the problem is there's no deal flow here, but there's some wholesalers that are trying to work with me for some reason and finding me deals. Maybe they're just starting out or something. So we'll see what that turns into. But yeah, I mean, I would like to exponentially grow, so I go from like, if I could do 20 or 30 or 4, like more for a year, right? That would be great. And I'd like to, like I kind of slacked you about it. Like I'd like to, yeah, just like you were around here, there's a lot of great guys that I'm friends with, and they don't always love their work, but a lot of them are really smart and capable. I would love to be able to share this with them. I'd love to have them be part of it somehow. Like you had the home guru thing before, where you had a team of people doing things. I'd love to do something like that, where certain people from around this neighborhood can be a part of it, helping with different things and bringing wealth to their families and being happy with what they're doing.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's very fun to do things with people, and it's helping people to learn this. We tell a lot of our friends how to do this model also. But I also love that you're the perfect case study, right? So you came in, you took imperfect action, you found deals that were maybe single base hits, not home runs. And as you did that, you're learning the process, you're learning by taking action. And now you're starting to see, oh, the jacket strategy. I see if I do this strategy, I can probably get all of my money out of the deal. Ideally, once you get the tenant buyer in place. And so the jacket strategy, for people that are watching and don't know, it's a variation of the Burr model, where we buy, renovate, refinance, and then we sell it on lease options and seller financing. And the challenge is when newer people come in, there's more moving parts, right? So when we step into the playing field, we want to start with level one training. And then when we go through that, and then we start to learn from the experience. And this is what I talk about a lot in the community, because it's not about comparing ourselves with anybody else. It's about, who am I compared to who I was like a month ago? And then what am I learning in the process? Because we have students who come in like Erik, who get deals like almost immediately. And then we have students who, it takes them a few months. They come in and they're learning, but like as they learn, they progress, they're gaining skill sets, and they continue taking action, and they're learning valuable skills. And the skills can never be taken away from us. I think you're just like, because you're the perfect trajectory, right? You're starting with like more of the basic type deals, and then let's add a little more complexity, a little more complexity, until you have like the perfect product that allows for you to have really, really solid returns, and ideally like get all of your money out of the deals.
No, that's cool to hear, Phil. Your
Yeah.
help as mentor and teacher.
Yeah, my pleasure. It makes me really happy to see people get really good results. Any advice or thoughts for someone who's considering joining Rap Academy or considering doing this model, but they're on the edge?
I think it's the best. I think there is a place for rentals and stuff like that, but I think that the place for that is really just the depreciation benefits and the tax benefits. But I know you have ways to achieve that through wraps as well, the shorter lease option. So I have to learn about that in the future, because I think that is an important aspect of real estate investment, is the tax benefits that you need to structure. Apart from those, though, like, why would you want to go after rentals? Like,
Yeah.
I think that's like what you see everywhere, right? Like you see it in all the talking heads, all the gurus, right? They're talking about like, like, is real estate investment still worth it? There's that iced coffee hour thing. They're like, he's like pulling all his rentals out and he's selling them all because like he's finding S&P 500 or whatever is a better investment. But yeah, compared to rentals, like where you have all that CapEx and OpEx expenses and bad tenants, absolutely. He's probably right. But compared to wraps, where you have people that have skin in the game, they're bringing a decent down payment, they have that ownership mentality. I think this is one for a single family home. It's like the only path. I mean, I say that maybe a little bit too boldly and hyperbolically, but I think it is the only path at this point in time. Maybe rentals worked at another time. For single family home, I would say this is like the one path that you have. Like this is your only choice. And yeah, there are like those old school guys out there that are probably cool to talk to, but and I don't know what they offer, but this community here is like fantastic. I've seen it from my own experience. I'm a newbie investor and I've had success. I don't know that you can take a soundbite out of what I've said because my thoughts were meandering and I didn't think about them ahead of time, but hopefully there's something useful there. Yeah, it's hard, right? Because it's a big investment up front, right? But it is the number one thing, right? You see across all these people, you see these videos across Facebook all the time where it's like, what would you do if you only had $10,000? And they always, maybe because they're selling a course, probably they are, but they always say like invest in education.
Yeah.
I don't know that I always agreed with that because I've spent money on multiple programs and I felt like at the time I wanted that capital to have available to get going with massive imperfect action instead of locking it up. But because this is the only way forward, like because the information about rentals is out there. You don't really need to join a program for that, in my opinion. But for wraps, it is more technical. It is more complex. You do need the support. So I absolutely think it's worth the investment. And it takes maybe a little bit of a leap of faith to get there. But as you can see in my case and many other people, You have people in this program that have like 100 deals. It's extremely valuable and powerful. Hopefully that helps somebody. You can prune it.
Cool. Thanks for coming on here. I'm excited to see kind of the continued growth. And as you continue going towards the goals, the reason that we found this model is because for us, it's the one that made the most sense, not just for profitability, but also for doing good in the world, helping families gain access to homeownership and eliminating a lot of the headaches as well, living a good life. I get to live well and I get to support others while doing it, and I get to support my family and not be stressed out all the time with a bunch of CapEx and OpEx.
Yeah,
Cool.
exactly. Thank you, Phil.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Eric. And if anyone has
Yeah.
wholesale deals in Topeka or in Kansas City or St. Louis, reach out to Eric and he is buying them up. Thanks everyone for listening in. And if you need to get a hold of us, comment on the video and we'll get in touch with you. All right. Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, Phil. Take care.